The Book of Disquiet by Fernando Pessoa. Passage 61. It's noble to be timid, illustrious to fail to act, sublime to be inept at living. Only tedium, which is withdrawal, and art, which is a disdain, gild with a semblance of contentment, the will-o'-wisps generated by our rotting lives are at least a light in our darkness. Our unhappiness is elevating, and only the tedium that comes from unhappiness is heraldic, like the descendants of ancient heroes. I'm a well of gestures that haven't even all been traced in my mind, of words I haven't even thought to form on my lips, of dreams I forgot to dream to the end. I'm the ruins of buildings that were never more than ruins, whose builder, halfway through, got tired of thinking about what he was building. Let's not forget to hate those who enjoy, just because they enjoy, and to despise those who are happy, because we didn't know how to be happy like them. This false disdain and feeble hatred are merely the plinth, rough-hewn and dirtied by the soil where it stands, for the unique and haughty statue of our tedium, a dark figure whose inscrutable smile gives its face a vague aura of mystery. Blessed are those who entrust their lives to no one. Passage 62. I'm physically nauseated by commonplace humanity, which is the only kind there is, and sometimes I willfully aggravate the nausea, like someone who induces vomiting to be relieved of the urge to vomit. One of my favorite strolls, on mornings when I dread the banality of the approaching day as if I were dreading jail, is to walk slowly past the still unopened shops and stores, listening to the scraps of conversations that groups of young women or young men, or women with men, let fall, like ironic alms, in the invisible school of my open-air meditation. And it's always the same succession of the same old phrases, and then she said, and the tone foreshadows the intrigue to follow. If it wasn't him, it was you. And the voice that answers bristles in a protest already out of my hearing range. You said it, yes, sir, I heard you. And the seamstress's shrill voice declares, my mother said she's not interested. Me? And the astonishment of the fellow carrying a lunch wrapped in white paper doesn't convince me, and probably not the dirty blonde either. It must have been. And the giggling of 3 or 4 girls drowns out the obscenity that, and I walked right straight up to the guy and right in his face, but I mean right in his face, Jose, just imagine. And the poor devil is lying. Because the office supervisor, I can tell by the voice that the other contender was the supervisor of the office in question, wouldn't receive the straw gladiator's challenge in the arena surrounded by desks. And then I went and smoked in the bathroom, laughs the little boy with dark patches on his trouser seat. Others, passing by singly or together, don't speak, or they speak, and I don't hear, but I can discern their voices, transparent to my penetrating intuition. I dare not say, not even to myself in writing, even though I could rip it up instantly, what I have seen in casually glancing eyes, in their involuntary lowering, in their sordid shifting. I dare not say because when vomiting is induced, one heave is enough. The guy was so soused he couldn't even see the stairs. I raise my head. At least this young man describes. These people are more bearable when they describe, since in describing, they forget themselves. My nausea subsides. I see the guy. I see him photographically. Even the innocuous slang heartens me. Blessed breeze across my forehead. The guy so soused he couldn't see the steps of the staircase. Perhaps the staircase where humanity stumbles, gropes and shoves its way up the corrugated illusion, which only a wall separates from the sharp drop behind the building. Intrigue, gossip, the loud boasting over what one didn't have the guts to do, the contentment of each miserable creature dressed in the unconscious consciousness of his own soul, sweaty and smelly sexuality. The jokes they tell like monkeys tickling each other, their appalling ignorance of their utter unimportance. All of this leaves me with the impression of a monstrous and vile animal created in the chaos of dreams, out of desire's soggy crusts, out of sensations chewed up leftovers. Passage 63. The entire life of the human soul is mere motions in the shadows. We live in a twilight of consciousness, never in accord with whom we are or think we are. Everyone harbors some kind of vanity, and there's an error whose degree we can't determine. We're something that goes on during the show's intermission. Sometimes, through certain doors, we catch a glimpse of what may be no more than scenery. The world is one big confusion, like voices in the night. I've just reread these pages on which I write with a lucidity that endures only in them, and I ask myself, what is this, and what good is it? Who am I when I feel? What in me dies when I am? Like someone on a hill who tries to make out the people in the valley, I look down at myself from on high, and I'm a hazy and confused landscape, along with everything else. In these times when an abyss opens up in my soul, the tiniest detail distresses me like a letter of farewell. I feel as if I'm always on the verge of waking up. I'm oppressed by the very self that encases me, asphyxiated by conclusions. And I'd gladly scream if my voice could reach somewhere, but there's this heavy slumber that moves from one group of my sensations to another, like drifting clouds that make the half-shaded grass of sprawling fields turn various colors of sun and green. I'm like someone searching at random, not knowing what object he's looking for, nor where it was hidden. We play hide and seek with no one. There's a transcendent trick in all of this, a fluid divinity we can only hear. Yes, I reread these pages that represent worthless hours, brief illusions or moments of calm, large hopes channeled into the landscape, sorrows like closed doors, certain voices, a huge weariness, the unwritten gospel. We all have our vanity, and that vanity is our way of forgetting that there are other people with a soul like our own. My vanity consists of a few pages, passages, doubts. I reread? A lie. I don't dare reread. I can't reread. What good would it do me to reread? The person in the writing is someone else. I no longer understand a thing. Passage 64. I weep over my imperfect pages, but if future generations read them, they will be more touched by my weeping than by any perfection I might have achieved, since perfection would have kept me from weeping and therefore from writing. Perfection never materializes. The saint weeps and is human. God is silent. That is why we can love the saint, but cannot love God. Passage 65. that noble and divine timidity which guards the soul's treasures and regalia. How I'd love to infect at least one soul with some kind of poison, worry, or disquiet. This would console me a little for my chronic failure to take action. My life's purpose would be to pervert. But do my words ring in anyone else's soul? Does anyone hear them besides me?